Welcome back to another presentation by 360 TG TMG. Hi everyone, my name is Mohammad Ibrahim Kazi. I and my team are here to present our project on performance analytics for general practitioner using Tableau. Before I proceed further, I would like to extend our thanks to InnoDataTix Director Sharad Manikonda, and also I would like to thank the mentor of our project SP Pavni and project manager Raju G. Now I would like to introduce my team members Anusha Kota, Ankita, Pradipti, Priya Rani, myself Muhammad Ibrahim, Prakar, Nishan, Chaitanya. These are the team members who have put their ample effort these days to get a successful outcome. I would like to take you through the content of the project that we'll be presenting in the upcoming slides, that are project overview and scope, project goals, technical stack, project architecture, visualizations, challenges, future scope, and question answers. Now I would like to hand over to Ankita for further details.
Thank you, Kashif. This is Ankita, and I am going to take you forward with the project overview and scope. The project main aim is to address the diseases that are affecting the UK population more, and also to improve the health service in UK by better understanding the disease and in which month in a year it influences the most, and also to identify the top 10 diseases in UK so that it improves the medicines and drugs facilities in UK. And also the project aim is to enhance the performance of GP to improve their service and to identify which health boards are inactive and try to rectify that problem. Next slide, please. Now here the main objective of this project is to maximize the performance of general practitioners in UK, also to identify the disease and chemical consumptions based on the month, and to minimize the time and cost for monitoring the health issues in different regions of UK. But there are constraints also. The main constraint is the big data. Solving the big data or handling the big data itself is a very is a tedious task. And also the timely diagnosis of the disease, since the performance of GP is directly proportional to the timely diagnosis of disease. Suppose some disease is timely diagnosis, so there is a high probability to get cure of that disease. And also the financial burden faced by the NHS, that is the major constraints we are facing over here. Next slide, please. Now related to technical stats, here we are using SQL. Our data set is stored is basically in secondary database. To feed the data, we need SQL. SQL is the medium to talk with database and get answer in terms of data, which we will use in Tableau. Next, whatever the data we get from the SQL is in the CSV file, that is comma separated value. And then once we extract the data and get in a CSV file, we just clean the data in the Jupyter notebook, and there we have merged the data also. After merging and cleaning the data, we load the data which is in the CSV format in Tableau. Tableau is a data visualization tool created by Tableau software. Data visualization is a process of visually showing information. Now people have tendency gain more insights from the data quicker using visualization rather than a huge amount of data by just seeing it. So visualization is always better. For that we are using Tableau tool for that. Next slide, please. Now this is the project architecture. Here we are using SQL for retrieving the data, and then we retrieve the data in the CSV format, and then we clean the data in the Python using IDE as a Jupyter notebook. Here we eliminate the irrelevant columns and clean the data, and also we merge the data in Jupyter notebook. After merging and cleaning the data, we load the data in Tableau software in CSV format And after the loading the data, we do the EDA process, and after that we draws the insights from the visualization. Next slide, please. Now, after this, my friend Pradipti will give the presentation.
Thank you, Ankita. I'm Pradipti. Now, I'm going to present data collection. Our dataset belongs to secondary data, which is in PostgreSQL format and converted to CSV file. Here, we have total two main datasets. One is QoF and other one is GP dataset. QoF dataset divided into QoF indicator and QoF achievements. GP dataset is divided into 12 months data and each month have 4 datasets. Combining GP and QoF separately, we have 2 datasets for analysis. After combining QoF dataset, we have 14 columns and so many number of rows in lakhs.
Sorry to interrupt. Would you please reshare? Hello.
Yeah, what happened?
The slides are not visible. It's in Spawny ma'am has messaged. Please reshare them.
Okay, okay. Sure.
We should start from beginning.
No, we can continue. Pradipti, reshare the slides.
Starting, we have to start.
Yeah, from starting.
Okay.
Or else someone who is ready, you can share the.
Just a second.
Sam has asked to reshare the link because the slides are not visible in YouTube.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Kashif, please start from the starting,
Okay,
from the introduction.
sure. Welcome back to another project presentation by 360 DG TMG. Hi everyone, my name is Mohammad Ibrahim Kazi. I and my team are here to present our project on performance analytics for general practitioners using Tableau. Before I proceed further, I would like to extend our thanks to InnoDataTix Director Sharad Manikonda, and also I would like to thank the mentor of our project SP Pavni and the project manager Raju G. Now I would like to introduce my team members. Next slide. Anusha Kota, Ankita Yadav, Pradipti, Priya Rani, Mohammad Ibrahim, Prakar Datu, Nishan, and Chaitanya. These are the team members who have put their ample efforts these days to get a successful outcome. I would like to take you to the content of the project that will be present in the upcoming slides. That are project overview and scope, project goals, technical stacks, project architecture, visualizations, challenges, future scope, question and answers. Here I'd like to hand over to Ankita for further details.
Thank you, Kashif. This is Ankita, and I'm going to take you forward with the project overview and scope. In this project, we are going to address the diseases which are most affecting the UK population, and also to improve the health service in UK by better understand the disease and in which month in the year it influences the most. In the another, we have to identify the top 10 diseases in UK, and according to it, we are going to improve in medicines and drug department. Also, the project aims to enhance the performance of general practitioners to improve their services, and also helps community to verify reasons why some of the health boards are inactive and helps to rectify the problems. Next slide, please. Next slide. Now here the project goal is to maximize the performance of general practitioners and to analyze the disease and chemical consumptions based on the month and to minimize the time and cost for monitoring the health issues in different regions of UK. But the main constraint of the project is the big data. Processing massive amount of data is a very big problem. And again, timely diagnosis of the disease is one of the major constraints since the performance of the GP is directly proportional when the disease is timely diagnosis. And also to minimize the financial burden on faced by the NHS. Now, next slide, please. Now here the technical stacks. Here we have using SQL. Our data set is stored in secondary database. To feed or extract the data, we need SQL. SQL is the medium to talk with database and get answer in terms of data which we will use in Tableau. Our extracted data is in a CSV format, that is comma separated value files. And once we get the CSV files, we first clean the data and remove the null values and irrelevant data from the data set by using Jupyter Notebook. After cleaning and processing the data, we load the data in Tableau software. Tableau is the data visualization tool created by Tableau software. Data visualization is the process of visually showing information. People have tendency to gain insights more from the data quickly using visualization rather than the numbers. So we are using visualization tool here. Next slide, please. Now this is the project architecture. Here we are using SQL to extract the data and then we convert it into CSV file. And after in the CSV file, we use Jupyter Notebook to clean the data and eliminate the irrelevant columns. After that, we merge the data set because we having the two data sets, we merged it. And after that, we load the data set in Tableau software and we did the data visualization and EDA process. And after that, we draw the necessary insights from the data. Next slide, please. Now here, after this, my friend Pradipti will give the presentation.
Thank you, Ankita. I'm Pradipti. Now I'm going to present data collection. Our dataset belongs to secondary data, which is in the PostGre format and converted to CSV file. We have total two main data sets. One is a QAF data set and other one is GP data set. QAF data set divided into QAF indicator and QAF achievements. GP dataset is divided into 12 months data and each month have 4 datasets. Combining GP and QAF separately, we have 2 datasets for analyzing. After combining QAF dataset, we have 14 columns and 80 lakhs rows. After combining GP dataset, we have 17 columns and 97 lakhs of rows. Next slide. Data dictionary. This dataset belongs to general practitioners. HB is health board. BNF is related to medical and chemical substance. Here we can see BNF code, BNF name, items. NIC, net integrated cost of the drug before any discounts. Act cost is fee to general practitioners. Quantity is the total quantity of the drug prescribed. DDD is defined daily dose for adults. ADQ is average daily quantity is for adult cells. Next slide. Next. This dataset belongs to QF achievement. QF stands for Quality and Outcome Framework. It is a voluntary annual reward and incentive program for all GP practices in England, detailing practice achievements result. Numerator is number of patients who have actually received the care. Field is the denominator is made up of the patients. Population eligible for the care. Ratio is numerator divided by field 4 or achievement. Organization codes are also called as R codes. Indicator. Indicators measure outcome that reflect the quality of care. Active. General practitioners are active or not. Next slide. This data set belongs to QF indicator. The QF gives an indication of the overall achievements of your practice through a point system. Types of domain under QF are clinical, public health, additional service, and quality improvement. Under these types, we can observe here indicator, description, area, display order, prevailable, this indicator. Next data set belongs to chemical substance. Here we can see BNF chemical and chemical. These are belongs to chemical names. Next slide. This data set belongs to GP address, means general practitioners. Here we can observe period, practice ID, locality, street name, area, postcode, country, post town, where the general practitioners will work. Next slide. This data set belongs to BNF. BNF is only available in the UK. BNF stands for British National Formulary. The BNF prescribes pharmaceutic, and other healthcare professionals with independent up-to-date information about the use of medicines. Here we can observe BNF chapter days. Under that again it will divided into section days. Under section again it is divided into subsection days. And the BNF chemical and chemical desk names. Thank you. Next, Anusha will take over.
Thank you, Pradipti. This is Anusha. I'm going to take you forward with the visualizations that are derived from the data we have discussed regarding all the data sets of the chemicals, BNF, and the GP practitioners data, and the chemicals and the diseases that are being affected by the people, and the chemicals that are use data using Tableau. So Tableau, as we know, is the leading data visualization tool for the data analysis and business intelligence. And also Tableau has been the leader for several years, and even till now, it's the leader for analytics and business intelligence, as mentioned by the Gartner's Magic Quadrants, which rates and analyzes which particular tool or software is best for the analytic tools and also getting the visualizations. In that, Tableau is the first. And it gives very quick and interactive visualizations through with the help of dashboards, stories, and very best features that are available in the Tableau interface. And the most important thing is Tableau doesn't require any coding, so anyone can use the user-friendly interface of Tableau and create the best visualizations from the data that we have available according to our requirements. And these data visualizations provide us a very clear idea of what the data means by giving a visual context to the data with the help of maps and graphs, and also makes the data more natural for the human mind to understand. And we can also easily identify the trends, patterns from the large data sets that we have, that we are going to analyze. And we can also understand the connections between the data, which are very complex to understand in case if we represent them in the form of words. So it's better to understand the huge data in the form of visualizations and get the best outcomes from the data. And these insights can be useful for the client to take the business related decisions. And then coming to the visualizations, as we have discussed regarding the QF is nothing but the quality and outcomes framework, which is conducting an incentive program for all the general practitioners in England and who are working in different localities and counties. And it's going to decide upon their achievements based on the number of people that they have served and the number of diseases that they have cured. So coming to this graph here, we can see that the organizations are being divided into several groups based on their performance or their ratio. So here the general practitioners are grouped into several groups based on their performance. Here the ratio is nothing but the number of people or the percentage of people that the general practitioners have served out of the total population that are eligible to get the care. As we can see in the graph, it's a circle graph where we have the ratio at the top in the UK, as UK is the best performing organization with the best general practitioners who are serving the people in the right way in their localities. And later on, we have all the other organizations that are serving moderate and also good and least performing organizations. From this, we can understand that some organizations are not performing well, like numerator is the number of people that they're serving, while field 4 is another feature that the population that are eligible to get the care. So only few of them are eligible to get the care by the general practitioners, so others are not getting the care. So these performing organizations need to be focused upon. And also we're going to identify the active GPs based on their status. So some GPs are active serving the patients in their localities and some are inactive. So based on that, the organizations are rated upon their status. So UK is the best performing organization with 112 general practitioners who are actively serving the patients in the counties. And then we have the topmost other organizations with the general practitioners, 78 in number, who are actively serving the patients. And this pie chart, we can identify the patients that are being handled by a particular organization and the number of patients that are being handled by the active general practitioners. So here 1 identifies the active status of the general practitioner and 0 identifies the inactive persons. So 80% of the people are being handled by the active practitioners, while 20% of the patients are only handled by the inactive practitioners. So with this, we need to make an in-depth study why the general practitioners who are handling the 20% of the patients are inactive, are unable to reach their achievement points. So these achievement points are given based on the indicators and the number of patients that they handle and the diseases that they are handling. So we need to focus upon these factors in order to make these general practitioners active. And this is a dashboard that gives us a clear overview of the entire performance of the general practitioners, which are grouped by the organizations. So here we can understand UK is the organization with the best general practitioners handling more number of patients. By we can understand this by the color or the dominating color of the blue. As we have mentioned, numerator is the number of patients that the general practitioner is handling in that particular county. And then the performance of organizations, as we have discussed, as UK is handling the more number of patients, it's the best organizations that is performing well with respect to organizations also. And we have many active general practitioners in UK, and the most highest paid the act cost, it's nothing the salary of the general practitioner. So this payment by the government of UK. So he is serving the best number of patients, and also these are the top 10 practitioners who are being highest paid. Yeah. Then now we are going to discuss about the diseases and the different diseases that are being diagnosed in the patients in different localities by the general practitioners. As we already mentioned, QOF, it has the achievement criteria. For that, we have been divided into 4 components. They are mentioned as the domains, and these domains are with respect to the color coding 0, 1, 2, and 3. So these domains are respectively as clinical, public health, and public health additional services and quality improvement. So each domain consists of a set of achievement measures, and these are known as the indicators. And based on this, we are going to assign points to the general practitioners with respect to the number of diseases that they have handled and the variant of the particular disease. Here we can see the top 10 diseases that are impacting people in UK. So here diabetes mellitus, and then mental health and quality and production. These are the diseases or the group of diseases under that area that disease comes is impacted by the people mostly. And these are the number of number of cases with respect to a particular variant of a disease. While coming to the diabetes mellitus, the type 0 disease is having the most dominant occurrence in the patients, while the other type 1 is having very less. Similarly, we have the different types and the variants being diagnosed in the patients with respect to different diseases. And coming to the next observation in this, we have the diabetes mellitus, as already mentioned, is the topmost affected disease. So we need to concentrate on this disease and create awareness programs in order to get rid of this disease or get prescriptions of the chemicals related to this disease. And similarly, with respect to the color variations in the numerator, that is the number of people who have been diagnosed by the general practitioners and the diseases that they have faced. Diabetes is the first one, and mental health comes in next, and so on. These different with size being given by the presence of the particular diseases. Now we are going to discuss about the chemicals that are being prescribed by the general practitioner. These are the top 10 chemicals, and their consumption is based upon the quantity that is being prescribed by the general practitioners. And here the color coding indicates the months. So as we can see here in the bar graph, so a stacked bar graph. So Ensure plus milkshake style lick is the most prescribed chemical by the general practitioners, and it's mostly consumed in all the months. While we see with respect to the month, September has a very least number of patients and less consumption of the chemicals. So we need to identify and analyze how the chemicals are being consumed in different months, and with respect to different diseases, what are the chemicals that are being used. And with respect to that, we can give the insights to the client so that those chemicals can be in more advancedly prescribed in that particular month. So from now on, I hand over the presentation to my friend Ankita to take you over with the further visualizations. Thank you.
Thank you, Anusha. Now here from this graph, previous slide, please. Now here from this graph, we can see that estimate cost to NHS. Now, first of all, what is NHS? NHS is the National Health Service. It is a publicly funded healthcare system in England and one of the 4 national health service systems in the United Kingdom. Now, every year, NHS spends amount on the healthcare service. So here from this graph, we can see that in which particular month NHS spends more. So we can see that in the month of March, July, October, and December, in this particular month, we can see that there is sudden rise in the spending of by the NHS. So we can see that March, October, July, and December, these are the 4 crucial months. So we have to be alert and we have to preserve the stocks for this particular 4 months so that to avoid any shortage of the important medicines. Next slide, please. Next slide. Now here we can see that the consumption, that DDD is nothing but the daily defined dose in adults, and ADQ, this term is related to the teenagers, those who are in the age group between 13 to 17. Now here we can see that the average dose means in the month of, in which particular month in a year, the average dose increases. So again, we can see that in the month of March, July, October, and December, the demand of the drugs is more in these particular 4 months only, in both in adults also and in teenagers also. So we have to be very cautious about this particularly 4 months and fill all the stocks of all the essential commodities for this particular 4 months to avoid any shortage. Next slide, please. Now here we can see that the amount paid by the National Health Services in different counties in UK. Here we can see that Glamorgan, that is Mid Glamorgan and West Glamorgan, spends more amount on the health services by the NHS, whereas Gwanet, this yellow portion, here we can see that very less amount spent by NHS. So what we can conclude from here? Here we can see that either the density of this region, that is Glamorgan, is very more, and also we can conclude that the very unhealthy people or majority of the patients live here only, so that the amount spent by NHS is more, and we can also conclude from the here that in the Gwanet, healthy people live, because the amount spent of by the NHS in Gwanet is very less compared to Mid Glamorgan and West Glamorgan. So we have to be more cautious, and more top-rated general practitioners should be hired over here to maintain the balance. Okay, next slide, please. Now here, from the previous slide itself, we can see that the Mid Glamorgan, this county, here is the highest number of patients are there. So obviously the cost spent by NHS is more. Here we can see from this bar graph, we can see that what is the average cost spent by NHS. So again, the Mid Glamorgan is on the highest. Here the average cost spent by NHS is $94.88. And again, we can see that in Gwanet, again, in the previous graph itself, the Gwanet is the county where healthy people live, or very less patients are there. So again, the amount spent by the NHS is very low, that is 63.13. So we have to focus more on Mid Glamorgan and Powys. These 2 counties we have to focus more. Next slide, please. Now here we can see that what are the top 10 medicines consumptions are there. So we can see that Ranofrol and omeprazole, these 2 medicines are prescribed more on daily basis as compared to other medicines. So we have to keep these medicines always in stock to avoid any shortage of medicines. Next slide, please. Now here from this graph, we can see that what is the medicines demand in adults and in youngsters. Here BDD terms refer to the adults and ADQ is the term refers to the teenagers. So here we can see that what is the average consumption of medicines. So here again we can see that Ramifril and omeprazole, these two medicines are prescribed or taken most by both adults and teenagers, but we can see that here the orange bar graph is more. That is, here we can see that Ramifril drug is mostly prescribed to the adults. That is DDD. DDD, this term is related to the adults. So we can say that this medicine, that is Ramifril, is mostly for the adults, and but here omeprazole, in terms of omeprazole, Ramifril is not prescribed more, but omeprazole is prescribed more. So we can say that for youngsters or for teenagers, omeprazole is the medicines for mostly prescribed to the teenagers, and Ramifril medicine is mostly prescribed to the adults. So therefore, we have to keep always these two medicines in stock. Next slide, please. Now here from this tree map, we can see that the top 10 GPs in UK and their locations and what is the fees of these GPs. So we can see that W91009, this is the ID of the GP. He is the top rated GP in UK, and his address is also given and his consulting fees is also given. From this tree map, we can see that. Next slide, please. Next slide. Now here it is a dashboard. In this dashboard, we can see these slides we have previously discussed. And again, we can see that here is the direct comparison between the actual cost, ADQ and DDD. Again, DDD, is, this term is related to the adults. ADQ is related to the teenagers, that how much average daily dose we have defined it to teenagers, and what is the actual cost spent by the NHS. So here from this graph, we can clearly see that the month of March, July, October, and December, these 4 months are very crucial, because in 4 months, both in adults also and in teenagers also, there is sudden rise in the disease. So we have to be more cautious in these 4 months. And this is the map again, that Mid Glamorgan and West Glamorgan. These are the two counties in UK where the more patients are there. So we have to be more cautious. Next slide, please. Now here, after my friend Kashik will going to present.
Thank you, Ankita. Here we have used a donut chart to represent the top 15 BNF with respect to NIC. NIC stands for net ingredient cost. And here the color represents the BNF name and the size represents the net ingredient cost of the particular BNF. And the numbers represent the quantity consumed of the particular BNF. As it can be seen from the chart, the Apexbin has the highest cost, followed up by Foster and Rexobin, whereas Apexbin has the highest average cost of 2,902, and Foster has the highest average cost of 2,130. And the highest quantity consumed BNF is Sterling SCI tab 150 mg. Next slide. Here we have used the bar chart to represent the monthly wise daily defined doses for the year 2020 with respect to months. Here, x-axis refers to DDD, that is daily defined doses, and y-axis refers to months, and colors refers to quantities. As we can see from the chart, the highest doses were defined in the month of March, followed up by December and October, whereas the quantity consumed in the March is 6,14,875, followed up by December, that is 5,58,90, sorry, 5,98,762, and so on. Next chart, please. The chart shows the top 15 GPs with respect to prescribed BNF month-wise for the year 2020. Size indicates the EDQ, that is the prescribed medicines, and color indicates the quantity. As we can see from the chart that in the month of March, the highest doses were prescribed, followed up by December and October. In the month of March, the highest doses were prescribed by the practitioner ID W95086, and in the month of October, it was prescribed by the W98022, and in month of September, it was prescribed by the W95086, and the least number of prescription were prescribed by the practitioner W96002. Next slide, please. This is a dashboard. Here the dashboard represents the top 15 GPs with respect to ADQ, top 15 BNF with respect to net ingredient cost, and monthly wise daily defined doses for the year 2020 with respect to month, and top 10 BNF based on quantity prescribed with respect to item and quantity. So by this we can conclude that the highest number of medicines that with the cost are exhibited, and the highest quantity consumed are the steroline. So these are the important medicines which have to be stored. Here I would like to conclude, and I would like to hand over to Priya Rani Patil.
Thank you, Kashif. So based on all of these visualizations, final inference would be UK is performing best with many general practitioners. We have recorded that diabetes mellitus, mental health are the most common diseases found in the people of UK. Ensure Plus milkshake is the most prescribed chemical by the general practitioners. In September 2020, there were least number of patients, which is analyzed based on the chemical consumptions. In the month of March, July, October, and December 2020, people of UK were more unhealthy. The medicine apixaban is costly, and then comes Foster and rivaroxaban, and they are also consumed in highest quantity. Next slide, please. So there were few challenges faced by our team during this project, like processing of the data was time consuming as there were huge number of records. Locating general practitioner center was not so accurate as there were many unrecognized locations. And we also faced difficulty in connecting with the data source as they were different from each other. Next. The scope of improvement of this project is to study the independent variables extensively to be able to predict an outcome. There's yet to explore measures to reduce the cost in terms of service and medicines. We can study why the practitioners are inactive or unavailable. And based on all of these insights, the UK government can take precautions for shortage of drugs. Next. Next slide, please. Okay. So at last, we would like to conclude that the aim of the project is being achieved, that is providing services to the community and get better quality treatments. This project also shows the mortality rate and number of footfalls for every diseases. This project can also help patients to identify suitable and better practitioner for their treatment. All of these include major parameters that affect the health of the people of UK and also suggest the measures to overcome. Next. Is there any questions our team would like to take up? So considering no questions, I would like to thank everyone. Thank you.